Okay, I will start today's session, break-even analysis. In previous class, we discussed about fixed costs and variable costs. Okay, if you consider any product, we can consider costs in various ways. Okay, so the basic classification includes fixed costs and variable costs. Variable costs are those which vary depending on the production volume, whereas fixed costs are those which are not dependent on the production volume. Okay, if you consider any business setup, or if you consider any manufacturing company, it is applicable. Okay, in order to understand the difference between fixed cost and variable cost, you can consider the example of starting a new bakery. Okay, if you want to start a new bakery, first you have to have a building. Okay, so you should have a building or shop space, then you should have furniture, and you should have some equipment related to bakery, which are used to make bread, cake. Okay, so like that. So these are the things which comes under fixed cost. Even though if you don't make any cake, or if you don't make any bakery product also, in order to start bakery, okay, you have to invest on building, you have to invest on equipment, you have to invest on furniture. So irrespective of how much you are going to prepare, how many cakes you are going to prepare, how many bread, how many pounds of bread you are going to prepare. Okay, irrespective of that, you need to invest on these things. So these are fixed cost. Next, variable cost means which vary depending on the quantity of bakery products you are going to prepare every day and you are going to sell. They are the variable cost. Variable cost includes ingredients like maida, sugar, salt. Okay, so this depends on again the quantity of these ingredients or raw materials dependent on how much you are going to prepare. Okay, similarly, if you consider any manufacturing company, okay, if you want to start a manufacturing company, you need machines, you need factory space. Okay, so the investment on factory space, the investment on building, the investment on equipment, okay, comes under fixed cost. Whereas the investment on raw material, the investment on direct labor comes under variable cost. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about break-even analysis by considering these components of cost, that is fixed and variable cost. Once a product is designed and developed and set it up for production and distribution, a large sum of money has already been spent. These are fixed costs. So, in order to start a business, you need a lot of preparation regarding having a building, then having infrastructure. Okay, so those are comes under fixed costs. Suppose if this product is not produced, then variable cost and sales revenue will be zero. Since these are directly related to production volume, if you don't produce even a single product, okay, you will have a building of the company, you will have infrastructure of the company, whether you will produce or not. Okay, so you will have all those things. So that's why. So if you don't produce anything, variable cost will be zero. If you don't produce, how you can get sales revenue? Okay, sales revenue also dependent on sales volume. To calculate the unit cost, proportionate share of the fixed cost must be added to variable cost per unit. Suppose if you want to find out cost of a product, okay, then you have to consider both fixed cost and variable cost. Variable cost depends on cost of raw material, cost of direct labor, whereas fixed cost should be distributed among the volume of production. If you are producing 100 units of a product, okay, and if you have invested 1 lakh on machine and getting a factory space, then you have to distribute this 1 lakh fixed cost on 100 units of a product. That means on every product, so 1000 will be distributed. Same thing, if the fixed cost is 1 lakh and if you are producing 1000 units of a product, then same this 1 lakh will be distributed among 1000 units. Then each unit will have only 100 rupees fixed cost. As the production volume increases, the fixed cost distributed or the fixed cost put on a unit of a product will also decrease. So that's why when we produce any product in mass number, in huge number, the cost of the product will decrease. The reason is you will get an opportunity to distribute this fixed cost among a huge number of products. Okay, so that is the relation between fixed cost and total cost. Okay, so to calculate unit cost, you have to consider both fixed cost and variable cost. If a product is produced at a higher rate, that is in mass production, the variable cost per unit remains almost the same. The reason is if you want to produce 100 units, you need less amount of raw material when you compare it with producing the same product in 1000 numbers. Okay, so for producing it in 1000 numbers, you need large quantity of raw material. Okay, so most of the cases the value of the raw material will remain same. Okay, so if you purchase in bulk, there may be some you may get some concession, but almost it will remain same. The cost of raw material will, or the cost of direct labor also will remain same, irrespective of the production volume. Okay, whereas fixed cost decreases because fixed cost remains same. Okay, if you produce almost same. Okay, so if you produce 1000 units, or if you produce 10,000 units, or if you run a factory for 3 shifts. Okay, so you are going to operate the same machine for 3 shifts. You are going to use the same factory space for 24 hours. Then this fixed cost doesn't vary. So that's why if you produce more number of products using the available facility, then fixed cost will decreases. Then if fixed cost decreases, obviously total cost of the product also will decrease. Therefore, unit cost come down as the volume of production increases. Okay, this is the break-even figure. Okay, so this is the figure which is representing the break-even point. Okay, so it is a plot of total cost and revenue versus production volume. So at this point, production volume is 0. Okay, if the production volume is 0, that means you have not produced anything. Then also, so there will be some fixed cost. The reason is, so even though if you have not produced anything, so you have invested on equipment, you have invested on infrastructure, so that's why. So if the production volume is 0 also, there will be fixed cost. Okay. So the fixed cost it will be same like this. Okay. Next, if the production volume increases, then this is the line of total cost. Okay, this line represents total cost. As the production volume increases, because of the increase in variable cost, okay, so the total cost also will increase. Fixed cost will remain constant. Okay, so above this, contribution will be from the variable cost. So this line AB represents total cost. Okay, so line OC represents revenue. That means by selling the products, we are earning some money. That is the revenue. Okay, so up to this is the fixed cost. Then from year to year, it is the variable cost. Suppose, okay, so if the production volume is, for example, if the production volume is 100 here, okay, at this location, the production volume is 100. So if you want to find out total cost when you are producing a product in 100 units, okay, then, so this is the fixed cost. Okay, this value is the fixed cost, and from year to year, this is the variable cost, and this value will give you the total cost. Okay, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ, this will be total cost. From year to year variable cost, from this point to this point it is fixed cost. Okay, like that you can go on calculating fixed and variable cost at different production volumes. Okay, figure illustrates the variations in cost with production volume. The cost OA, that is OA, okay, so OA is the total fixed cost which is incurred even if nothing is produced. The line AB, this line, the line AB is a plot of the total cost against the production volume. Okay, it is increasing because of the increase in the variable cost. So variable cost depends on raw material and direct labor. So direct labor is one who is operating the machine. For him you have to give salary. Okay, so if you want to get 1000 units of a product, then he has to work for more number of hours, or you need more number of labors compared to when you want to produce the same product in 100 units. Slope of the line AB represents the variable cost per unit. Okay, if you want to find variable cost per unit, then you can consider the slope. Okay, so if you consider a slope, okay, this value will give you the variable cost per unit. That is the meaning. You can consider slope anywhere. Okay, so this will give you the unit variable cost. Slope of the line AB, this is the line AB, and the slope of this line will give you variable cost per unit. Next, the line OC represents the sales revenue, its slope being the unit sales price. Okay, so OC, so this is O and this is C, and the slope of this line will represent the sales revenue per unit, or sales price per unit. Okay, the two lines AB and OC, this is AB, total cost, this is the line representing total cost, and OC, this is the line representing revenue. Okay, a company is going to earn revenue by selling the product. Okay, if it sells more number of products, it is going to earn more. Okay, at the corresponding quantity Q, the total cost of the product is equal to the total sales revenue. So if it is a new company, okay, initially it has to invest a lot to establish a company. It should have own building, own factory space, then own infrastructure. For that, company has to invest a lot. So that is the fixed cost. Okay, then when it starts selling products, so it is going to earn some money. Okay, initially it will be less. Okay, as the company able to succeed in the market, it is able to sell more number of products. Okay, so then again consider the total cost for few years. Okay, so a company has to sell its product in loss. Okay, again if it succeeds to increase its production volume by gaining demand in the market, okay, so then it is able to increase revenue. At the same time it is able to reduce the cost. Okay, when you produce any product in huge number, in mass quantity, okay, you are able to reduce the cost of production. The reason is the fixed cost is distributed among large number of units of a product. That's why total cost will come down when the quantity of production is high. Okay, so here company wants to know, okay, so if it is able to produce in what volume, okay, it can be in profit. Okay, so ಪ್ರತಿ ವರ್ಷ ಎಷ್ಟು ಲಕ್ಷ ಯೂನಿಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ನ ನಾವು ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ನಾವು ಕಂಪ್ನಿನ ಲಾಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೆಸಬಹುದು. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಕಂಪನೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು get answer for this question by doing this break even analysis. Okay, initially company will be in loss, because of the initial investment on fixed cost, and gradually it is going to earn some revenue. Okay, and later on it may be after 2 years, after 4 years. Okay, so company may be able to get back all initial investment, and it may be able to earn revenue. Okay, so that is the break even point. So break even point is a point where there will be no loss and there will be no profit. Okay, company invest ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ಎಲ್ಲಾದು ಕಂಪನಿಗೆ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತೆ. Okay, so and if the company is producing the products at a quantity Q, then it is able to run the company such that there is no loss and there is no profit. If the company is able to produce a product, okay, so greater than this production volume Q, then it is able to earn revenue. Suppose if the demand for the product decline and if the company is producing the product less than this Q, then the company will be in loss. Okay, because of the initial investment, it will be in loss. Okay, so this is about the break even analysis. And here we are considering for a batch production. That means we are producing in terms of thousands of units of a product, and we are considering cost for thousands of units of a product. Next, if the production plant is operated at this level, there will be no loss and no profit. This point is called break even point. Okay, break even point is the production level or production volume at which a company will be in no loss and no profit. Okay, plant is operated below this level, the manufacturing company will be in loss. If a plant is operated above this level, the manufacturing company will be in profit. Okay, so you can consider the example of Jio. Okay, so in telecommunication sector also, Jio did the same thing. Okay, initially during launch, they provide you data at very cheap cost. The reason is they know they will be in loss, but they know gradually they are able to gain consumer base. Okay, and gradually after gaining consumer base, they started increasing the tariff for data and other services. Okay, so now there may be I don't know, so what is their plan, when they are going to achieve this break even point? That is the strategy of that company. They know, okay, after how many years, so they are going to reach this break even point, and after that how much profit they are going to earn. They have a proper strategy for that. Okay, every company will do that. Initially they will be in loss, gradually they will pick up, and at a certain point, okay, they are able to get all investment, and later on if they run the business, they will be in profit. Okay, so this is the trend in most of the business sectors. Okay, and companies will do break even analysis before releasing any service product, or it may be a physical product. They will obviously do this break even analysis. Okay, without that, so they don't do a business in larger scale. Next, the same thing here, we are considering unit cost. Okay, in this figure, costs are plotted on a per unit basis. That means per unit of a product or per unit of a component. Okay, cost, revenue per piece, then production volume. The line AB is the variable cost per unit, AB. So that means if there is a product, okay, the raw material required for each product will be same. Okay, if you are producing a same product in 1000 pieces, so every piece of a product will consume same amount of raw material, and again every piece of a product will consume same time of the labor. So that means the variable cost will remain same irrespective of the production volume. Okay, that is the meaning. Okay, irrespective of the production volume, so the variable cost will remain same. So that is denoted by the line AB. So this denotes variable cost. It is same whether you produce the component in 1000 numbers or 1000 or lakh. Okay, so the cost per product variable cost per product will remain same. The per unit share of the fixed cost decreases with the volume of production and is represented by the curve CD. Okay, if this is the curve which represents fixed cost. Okay, initially fixed costs are very high. The reason is fixed cost means it is the investment on infrastructure of the company. Okay, that's why it is very large. Gradually, when the production volume increases, so the fixed cost decrease. The reason is you are able to distribute this fixed cost on huge number of products. Okay, if you distribute 1 lakh among 100, each will take 1000. Okay, but if you distribute the same 1 lakh among 1000 units, then for each it will be 100. Again, if you distribute same thing among 10,000, then if you go for 1 lakh, still it is going to get reduced. That's why fixed cost will decrease like this. Next, the curve EF, that is this curve, represents the total unit cost. Total unit cost means if you add variable cost and fixed cost, you will get total cost. Okay, suppose if you want to find out total cost at this point, suppose here if it is 50 pieces. Okay, so if the production volume is 50 at this point, then okay, so this much is the variable cost from here to here. So this is the variable cost. Then so again same thing from here to here. Okay, from this point to this. So this is the fixed cost. Okay, you have to add this value and this, then you are going to get the total cost. Okay, so like that, so you are going to get it. The line GH representing the sales revenue per unit. So this is the line GH representing sales unit per unit, intersects the total unit cost curve at the point corresponding to Q, the break-even point. Okay, so this is the, you have to evaluate total cost and sales revenue. Okay, so this is, if you consider at this point, okay, so sales revenue is less than the total cost. That means company is operating in loss. Here also sales revenue at this point, okay, this much is the sales, this much is the total cost and this much is the sales revenue. Again, sales revenue is less than the total cost. Company is in loss. At this point, at break-even point, okay, so sales revenue and total cost both are same. That means at this point, company is in no loss and no profit. Again, if it operates further, okay, so cost is less than revenue. That means company is operating with profit. Okay, so when total cost decreases, and even though if sales revenue remains same, company will be in profit because of the reduction in cost or because of the decrease in cost of production. Okay, an acceptable design must have a break-even point below the expected sales volume point. The reason is if the sales volume point is not below the break-even point, okay, so then it will be problem. Okay, an acceptable design must have a break-even point below the expected sales volume. So here this is the sales volume point. Okay, so this is the break-even point. So that means this is below that. Okay, suppose if you are producing only 100 units of a product and break-even point is at this volume. Okay, you are producing only 100 and break-even point is 150 units of a product, for example. Then company will operate and will shut down in loss. From the beginning to end, it will be in loss. So that's why, so it should be more than the break-even point. Okay. Next, designing for profit. The aim of the designer is to design for maximum profits subject to professional ethics and all legal and safety constraints. Okay, so in previous session we discussed the constraints for a designer. Okay, so no one will, no investor will pick your idea or will pick your design concept if they are not able to earn profit, if they are not able to make money. No one will choose, or no one is ready to invest on any design concept in order to make loss. Okay, every company want profit, and always companies will try to identify a way in which they can increase the profit margin. ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಂಪ್ನಿನವರು ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಅಂತ ನೋಡ್ತಾರೆ ಹೊರತು ಯಾರು ಲಾಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡಲ್ಲ, ಯಾರು ರೆಡಿ ಇರಲ್ಲ ಲಾಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ. Okay, that's why even though you may have a very innovative idea, again you have to look into economic aspects of your design concept, whether one who is going to invest on your design concept, whether he is able to earn profit or not. Okay, if he is not able to earn profit, you don't get an investor. The aim of the designer is to design for maximum profits, subject to professional ethics and all legal and safety constraints. Okay, so again you cannot only rely on profit, or you cannot only consider making money. So again, the path that you are choosing to make money should be legal and it should be on ethical grounds, otherwise you will be in trouble. Okay, in future you will face legal consequences. We know many business men, okay, so they are facing many legal consequences, and some are in jail and some are out of the country. Okay, so designer also consider these things. If the sales price for a given design is dictated by the market, then the only way to maximize profit is to reduce costs. Okay, so this is the challenge, or this is the problem, or this is a challenge in the globalized world. Okay, so you have to most of the times the price of a product is dictated by the market. Okay, so if you go on increasing the price of a product, then people will prefer your competitor. So say ಅದೇ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ರಿಲಯಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಇರೋ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಆದರೆ, ಸೊ ನಿಮ್ದು ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ಆಬ್ವಿಯಸ್ಲಿ, so people will prefer competitors. So they have many options in the market. If you go to buy a pen, you know how many companies pens are available in the market. So most of the pens will cost 10 rupees only. If some pen costs 12 rupees, and if the performance and if the other considerations are same as others, so you don't pay 12 rupees. Okay, so you will obviously go for 10 rupees pen. That's why for most of the products in today's marketing world, okay, so cost will be decided by the market. Then suppose if a company wants to increase profit, it cannot go for increasing the price of the product. Instead, what it will do is it will try to reduce the cost. It may be manufacturing cost, or it may be other costs. Okay, that is the meaning. Okay, so if the sales price for a given design is dictated by the market, then the only way to maximize profit is to reduce cost. And companies nowadays, they have find many ways. Okay, you have recently one company in Kolar was in news. Okay, what is the name of that company? ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಕಂಪ್ನಿಲಿ ಗಲಾಟೆ ಆಗಿ ತುಂಬಾ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲ,
Vistran.
Okay, Vistran company was in news. Okay, after that they conducted an inquiry. Okay, so based on the initial inquiry, so it was the fault of the company itself. Company had not paid enough salary to employees. Okay, and company is saying that employees are provided by another outsourcing company. Okay, so nowadays most of the manufacturing companies are choosing this path. So they are not recruiting employees as permanent employees. Instead, what they are doing is, so they are hiring them as contract employees. So, and they are providing very less salary. Okay. So this is a strategy adopted by some of the companies to reduce direct labor cost. Okay. And again, there are consequences. So in order to make more profit, Visran company so go for outsourcing, and again they have not paid salary to employees. Now they are facing legal consequences, not only with the state government. Okay, it is also facing legal consequences with Apple company. Okay, Apple company is having its own principles, its own guidelines. Okay, ಯಾವ್ದಾರ ಕಂಪ್ನಿಗೆ ಅವರು ಅವ್ರ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ನ ಮ್ಯಾನುಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲೇಬರ್ ಲಾಸ್ ಏನೇನು ಫಾಲೋ ಆಗಬೇಕು, ಲೇಬರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಯಾವ ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟಿ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ, ಸೊ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎ ಗೈಡ್ಲೈನ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ನಾವು so this Visran company may not get further orders from the Apple, so they may shut down their operation after few years. Okay, so these are the consequences. Okay, next, manufacturer may reduce either fixed cost or variable cost or both. It happens often that there is a trade-off involved between the two costs. That means if you try to reduce fixed cost, variable cost may increase. Okay, if you try to reduce variable cost, fixed cost may go high. So there is a relation between fixed cost and variable cost such that, okay, hardly you are able to reduce both costs. Okay, that means if you try to reduce fixed cost, variable cost will increase. Okay, if variable cost decrease, fixed cost will increase. Okay, consider an example. Suppose if you want to produce a product, okay, by machining, then you have to invest on CNC machine from which you can get better finish. The problem is you have to invest more money. Okay, you may get a lathe machine for 10 lakh. In order to get a good quality product, okay, you may have to invest 20 lakh. Okay, so if you invest 20 lakh and if you purchase a lathe machine, the advantage is, so number of defects will be less, number of rejections will be less. That means variable cost will be less, whereas fixed cost will be more. Suppose in order to reduce fixed cost, if you go for purchasing a traditional lathe machine, initial investment may be 10 lakh, but because of various reasons, it may be because of the skill of the operator, because of other reasons, the number of defectives may be more. So you are able to reduce fixed cost, but variable cost will increase. So next question is, you have to balance these two. Okay, you have to make a decision such that you are balancing these two aspects. Okay, most of the times it is possible to reduce fixed costs only at the cost of increased variable costs or vice versa, as we discussed. Okay, next, there is a concept of indifference. Okay, in figure, the line OA represents the fixed cost of a manual method of production whose variable costs are high. Okay, this is an example where a company has to make a decision regarding whether to go for manual production or automation. Okay, whether to continue with the manual production system, or the existing facility should be automated. For this, if the company wants to find answer for this, okay, then they can go for again break-even analysis. In figure, the line OA, okay, represents the fixed cost of a manual method of production. OA represents fixed cost for manual method whose costs are high. Next, the line AB represents the total cost for manual method. Okay, AB represents total cost for the manual method. OA represents fixed cost, and above this will be the variable cost. Okay, So OA, so this will be fixed cost. If you consider slope of EAP, that is the unit cost in by using manual method. Next, automatic process has higher initial cost OC, but lower variable cost, so that the total cost is given by the line CD. Okay, why the initial cost for automation is more and later on the cost reduces in case of automation system? What are the reasons? So the major advantage with automation system is you need less number of people. Okay, you are able to reduce labor cost to the greater extent with the help of automation. In order to have an automation system, you have to invest more money, okay, on sophisticated technology, on upgraded technology and sophisticated machines. You have to invest more money, but you are able to reduce variable cost since you need only few number of people. That means direct labor cost has been reduced phenomenally. Okay, so because of that, you are able to reduce variable cost in case of automation, but initial cost will be high. Okay, then you will plot the cost versus production volume at a particular point. Okay, so if you go for manual production, will be same. That means company is going to it has to invest the same amount of money, or the total cost will be same. Okay, if the production volume is beyond the point P, okay, if it is greater than the P, then only so this automation system is better. The reason is it is a total cost versus production. Here will be less for automation. Okay, so if a company that's why whenever if a company wants to make a decision, it will consider the production volume. Automation is preferred for mass production. Okay, so manual system is preferred for batch production or even for job works. Okay, so in this also same thing. So point of indifference means, so this point P is called as indifference. That means if you choose manual method or automation method, okay, cost will be same for this case. That is the indifference. If there are two options, okay, if you want to make a choice between two available options, if the result is same, if there is no difference, that is called as point of indifference. In this example, so at P, okay, so the total cost of manual production and the total cost of automation both are same. So this point is called as indifference, point of indifference. The line CD has a smaller slope. The reason is there will be decrease in variable cost. The line CD has a smaller slope than the line AB, signifying that unit variable cost is lower in the automatic process than in the manual process. It is because of the reduction in direct labor cost in case of automation systems. The point P locates the level of production where the two methods cost the same. Two methods means manual and automation. If a product is produced below this level, that means if the production volume is less than P, if the, suppose for example, if the value of P is 50,000, okay, if the product is produced less than 50,000 and later if there is no demand for that product, or if there is no life for the product, then so company should prefer manual production. Okay, suppose if company is producing more than 50,000 units of a product, then it can prefer to have automation system. Okay, if a product is produced below this level, that means below production volume P, So manual method should be used. Point P is considered as the point of indifference between the two methods, since total cost will be same. Okay, next, need for optimization. Industrialization leads to more prosperity, but also leads to increased dehumanization and the poisoning of the environment. Okay, why industrialization leads to dehumanization? What is the reason? How industrialization is responsible for dehumanization? Okay, so in an urge to make more profit, okay, companies or investors or capitalists, they started treating human beings as materials. Okay, they don't consider labor as a human being with emotions. They also treat him as a tool to make money. That's why industrialization, which is profit oriented and which neglects human sentiments, okay, results in dehumanization. Similarly, it also create a lot of problems regarding environment. You know, the link between industrialization and pollution, okay, and link between utilization of natural resources and industrialization. Okay, so these are the things. Faster means of communication create a kind of a global village with events happening in any part of the world affecting all others almost instantaneously. Okay, now you know if some new trait of virus is found in United Kingdom, even people in Assam or people in Karnataka also worried about that, because in one or the other way the entire world is connected, and the communication and even transportation. Okay, so we have many mechanisms to have good communication with people around the world. So similarly we have number of ways to get connected with the world. So that's why if something happen in US or something happen in UK, we are worried. Okay, that is another thing. This permits prediction of global weather and providing immediate aid to distress-stricken regions of the world. If something, some problem arises in any part of the world, okay, other countries also will come forward to help those countries. We have various global organizations like United Nations, okay, World Bank, okay, and WHO. So we have this type of system. But such rapid means of communication also benefits international terrorist organizations and other such antisocial activities. Okay, with the help of consider the example of internet. Okay, with the help of internet, we are able to access knowledge base from around the world. Okay, so you can read a research paper of a scientist from USA, or you can watch a lecture from a professor in Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Okay, like that, we have many benefits out of this internet. At the same time, some organizations like ISIS, okay, they make use of internet to radicalize people, okay, based on various issues. Okay, so by this what you can understand is, if there is any technology, okay, if there is any development, if there is any product, there are both positive and negative phases to it. Okay, it will have some merits and it will have some demerits. Optimization is finding a balance between advantages that we can gain out of a product or service, and at the same time disadvantages because of that product or service. Okay, that is the optimization. Optimal way of doing or optimal way of achieving things, okay, are making a balance between positive impact and negative impact of a product or service. There are positive and negative effects of almost any development. One of the things that make a designer's task difficult is that to strike a balance between these opposing effects. Design problem will always have conflicting requirements like quality and cost. Okay, both are conflicting. If you want to increase quality of a product, obviously cost also will increase. You cannot reduce cost and simultaneously you cannot increase the quality of a product. Okay. Another example, insecticide which is very efficient for mosquitoes cannot be very safe for people. Okay, we know the problem of mosquitoes. We use mosquito coil and other things. They are not good for health, but we don't know. We don't have other option. If mosquito bite, we may get dengue, okay, and other diseases. Again, we have to make a balance. So we know we are going to get affected by using mosquito coil or other things which we use to kill mosquitoes. Okay, but at the same time, so we don't have other options also. We have to make a balance. So there are many like this. There are many situations where by knowing the disadvantages also, we are using many products and we are consuming many services. While designing, one must try to strike a balance between conflicting requirements. The process of arriving at such balance is known as optimization. Okay, optimization is the process by which the competing requirements are balanced to give the best results. Okay, so this completes theory part of